Welcome to our course about housekeeping on the job. It's easier and safer to prevent something from happening than to repair the damage after the fact. Good housekeeping makes your job easier, keeps you safe, and makes you more efficient. In this course, you will learn about the effects and benefits of housekeeping, as well as tips for keeping your workspace clean, safe, and organized. By the end of this course, you will be able to recognize the effects and benefits of housekeeping, identify housekeeping considerations when planning work, and for designated areas such as those for storage, eating, drinking, and smoking, recall strategies for organizing and storing tools, materials, and equipment, and know how to safely perform basic cleaning tasks. Which of these statements is true? It's okay if you aren't sure. We'll explain the correct answer. Poor housekeeping can cause many different types of incidents. For instance, when you leave objects on floors, steps, platforms, or other walking surfaces, people may trip over them. Non-secure items can fall and hit people. Greasy, wet, or dirty surfaces can cause people to slip and can attract pests such as animals and insects. Projecting, poorly stacked, and misplaced items are easy for people to bump into. Protruding nails, wire, and steel strapping can cut, puncture, or tear skin. Poor housekeeping can contribute to fires or lead to chemical exposures. An open can of paint thinner that is not in use can become fuel for a fire or emit dangerous fumes. Clutter can conceal hazards. Sharp objects like protruding nails may be hidden by debris so that people unknowingly step on them. Disorder and poor organization results in workers wasting time searching for tools and materials. Frustrated workers may feel the need to take risky shortcuts when the correct tools and materials are not readily available. For example, a worker may grab an uninsulated tool and risk getting shocked if the insulated tool is not easy to find. Poor housekeeping can have subtle but significant psychological effects. If people accept mess and disorder as the normal state of their working environment, they may ignore or underestimate serious health and safety hazards. Benefits of good housekeeping and organization include fewer and less serious fire hazards. A clear workspace minimizes ergonomic hazards and improves access to exits, aisles, passageways, and safety equipment, such as emergency showers, eye wash stations, and fire extinguishers. Less clutter reduces the risk of scrapes, lacerations, slips, trips, falls, and pest infestations. In addition to making workplaces safer, good housekeeping boosts morale and contributes to a positive work environment. When items are organized and where you expect them to be, you spend less time and effort searching for tools, equipment, and materials. Pride in work area appearance makes a powerful statement about your commitment to quality. It provides physical evidence that people have high expectations and take quality and safety seriously. Good housekeeping can also affect profits. Orderly and clean work areas imply efficiency and safety. These are qualities that customers appreciate and demand. Most regulatory agencies include good housekeeping practices in their safety standards and requirements. So, compliance isn't just a good idea. It's often required by your company and the law. Good housekeeping practices can do what? Before you begin a task, think about housekeeping and inspect the area. Document inspections with formal checklists developed as part of a housekeeping program. Checklists can also help you remember what you need to inspect and clean up. Install anti-slip flooring or mats in areas that tend to get wet or are difficult to clean frequently, such as entryways. Secure all mats, rugs, and carpets so they do not cause trips or slips. Replace any worn, ripped, or damaged flooring. Avoid placing cords and cables in areas where people could trip over them. Extension cords are for short-term use, so do not fasten cords for long-term use. Instead, consider installing a new receptacle where you need it. Keep aisles, stairways, and platforms clean, uncluttered, and in good repair. Make sure they are adequately lit so people can see where they are going. Pay attention to aisle layout. Make sure aisles are wide enough to safely accommodate people, vehicles, products, and materials. Install warning signs and mirrors at blind corners. You should keep walls and other painted surfaces clean. Wall cleanliness and color affect light levels. Clean, lightly colored walls reflect light and make areas brighter, while dirty or darkly colored walls absorb light and make the area darker. Your facility may use paint color as a safety tool. Different colors, particularly yellow, can highlight hazards and obstructions of which people need to be aware. Paint can also highlight railings, guards, and other safety equipment. It's important that these colors are clearly visible and not covered with dirt, mud, or other things that obscure them. Which task do you think is easier? Cleaning spills or preventing them? Spilled liquids can cause slips and material damage. Some liquids can be harmful to health if they emit vapors or fumes or contact skin or eyes. Rather than handling these hazards after a spill, it's easier and safer to prevent spills in the first place. When you work with liquids, use appropriate containers. Keep the lids closed when you aren't using them, and use secondary containers as needed. You can find container requirements on the materials safety data sheet. Clean and maintain machines and equipment regularly. Use drip pans, guards, and oil pans where drips, leaks, and spills are likely. Keep motors, drives, and electronics free of materials that can cause overheating and fires, such as dust, oil, and fibers. Replace burned-out light bulbs to maintain adequate lighting for security and safety. Dim light can cause trips and hide hazards. Replace or fix items such as broken windows, damaged doors, defective plumbing, and damaged flooring as quickly as possible. During your housekeeping inspection, you find a burned-out light bulb. When should you replace it? Storage areas should be as convenient as possible without compromising work or safety. Never allow stored materials to obstruct emergency equipment, first aid stations, aisles, stairs, or exits. Think about where people will be at various times and what they need to access or where they need to go if there is an emergency. Clear the area around sprinkler heads and electrical panels so that sprinklers can work effectively and so that people can access the electrical panels quickly. When you work, take only the materials you need for the task at hand to avoid storing items outside the designated area. For example, if a chemical is stored in a drum, you may be able to take a small amount of it to your work area. Never eat, drink, or smoke around flammable or toxic materials. Eating areas should be separate from working areas and cleaned every shift. Be aware that food and beverage waste can produce unpleasant smells and can also attract pests. Never smoke in any non-smoking area. This will protect air quality, prevent fires, and prevent chemical inhalation or ingestion. Signs should clearly differentiate smoking areas from areas where smoking is forbidden. If you smoke, always use the ash receptacles in smoking areas to prevent fires. Ash receptacles should be emptied regularly. Make sure the ashes have cooled off before disposing of them, as hot ashes can start fires. Maintain sanitary facility areas to protect the health and safety of people who use them. For example, make sure soap, towels, toilet paper, and disinfectant are available in bathrooms and contact the appropriate party if supplies are low. Install or place hand sanitizer pumps near strategic locations where people may touch frequently used surfaces such as door handles, elevator buttons, or appliance controls. How frequently should you clean eating and drinking areas? Set up suitable fixtures with marked locations for tools near workbenches and in tool rooms. For example, some people draw silhouettes around tools or put labels on pegboards to indicate what belongs in each spot. Always put tools away immediately after using them so you don't lose them and so others can easily find them. Always stack pallets horizontally. Standing them on their sides can cause them to fall onto people or equipment. Limit stacking height. Pallets are particularly hazardous because they are combustible and designed so they have a plentiful air supply. Stacking them too high will prevent fire extinguishers from reaching all the parts of the pallet stack. As you can imagine, a large stack of pallets can easily fuel a dangerous fire. If you operate powered industrial trucks or other vehicles, keep the interiors free of clutter. Clutter can become a hazard while you operate a vehicle. For instance, a loose bottle could prevent you from braking if it got under the brake pedal. Loose and unsecured tools and materials thrown onto the roadway present a hazard to other motorists. Use available vehicle stowage, including secured toolboxes, storage compartments, and glove boxes, to organize and secure important tools and documents. Remove trash and unnecessary items every time you exit the vehicle so that it doesn't build up. Different types of materials need to be stored in different ways to remain secure. For example, certain chemicals may need to be stored separately to avoid fires or reactions. Clearly mark all storage areas so people know what to find and place there. Keep storage areas clean and organized. Keep storage doors and drawers closed when you are not present. Store frequently used items between knee and shoulder height to make it easier to handle them and to reduce the risk of strain and back injury. True or false? A cabinet that is labeled flammable liquid storage should only contain flammable liquids. When a spill occurs, clean it up right away. Use the appropriate personal protective equipment, such as gloves and absorbent materials. You can check the material safety data sheet for safety instructions. Safely dispose of used cleaning materials after using them, and remember to use signs to alert others about wet floors as needed. Don't allow combustible waste materials such as paper, wood, and cardboard to build up. Remove any unneeded combustible and flammable materials from your facility. Discard oily rags and covered metal containers. Keep all heated areas particularly clean. Never allow trash to accumulate in boiler, furnace, or heating system rooms. Never store combustible materials in a mechanical room. Make sure nothing ever blocks the ability of a fire door to close completely. Effective methods for removing dirt, dust, and chips depend on the facility and materials in question. Some facilities may use enclosures and exhaust ventilation systems to collect dirt, dust, and chips. Additional cleaning may still be necessary, however. Use gloves and other protective equipment to protect against splinters and cuts from shavings. Never clean up any hazardous substance unless you have the appropriate training and equipment to do so. You can use a standard vacuum cleaner, broom, or mop to remove light dust or dirt. If you mop, use warning signs to alert your coworkers to the wet floor. When you sweep, you can dampen floors or use sweeping compounds to reduce airborne dust. Industrial vacuum cleaners are appropriate for heavier jobs or areas, such as walls, ceilings, ledges, and machinery. Special-purpose vacuum cleaners may be necessary to safely clean up combustible dust and other hazardous substances. It's worth repeating that you should never clean up any hazardous substance unless you have the appropriate training and equipment. Do not use compressed air on dust, dirt, or chips. For one thing, it is ineffective. Instead of removing material, it simply blows and relocates it and may result in clouds of combustible dust. For another thing, during the process, particles become airborne. Once they are in the air, they may get into your eyes, strike you, or you may breathe them in. What is a safe and effective tool for removing untreated wood shavings from the crevices of machinery? You should now be able to recognize the effects and benefits of housekeeping, identify housekeeping considerations when planning work, and for designated areas such as those for storage, eating, drinking, and smoking. Recall strategies for organizing and storing tools, materials, and equipment, and know how to safely perform basic cleaning tasks.